Welcome back to the channel where we break down the real truths about money, wealth, and financial freedom. Today, we're talking about a topic that frustrates most people who are trying to build wealth: the painful, slow grind to your first $100,000, and the almost unbelievable speed at which money grows after that point. If you've ever wondered why it feels like it takes forever to build your first serious savings, but millionaires seem to multiply their wealth overnight, this video will open your eyes. Because the truth is, your first $100,000 is the hardest, but also the most important. Let's break it all down. 1. The harsh truth about the first $100,000. Everyone wants to get rich fast. But no one tells you that the first stage of wealth is the slowest, the toughest, and the most mentally draining. Why? Because in the beginning, you have no capital, no leverage, and no momentum. When you start, your savings are small. Your income might barely cover expenses. You're learning financial discipline, understanding how to invest, and probably making mistakes along the way. Every dollar feels like it takes blood, sweat, and sacrifice to earn. You're fighting against inflation, lifestyle temptations, and often, a lack of financial education. It's not that making $100,000 is impossible. It's that the process requires discipline before results appear. And most people quit before that compound effect ever kicks in. The first $100,000 is AB*TCH, but you've got to do it. It's a way harder slog than the next $900,000. He wasn't exaggerating. The first milestone in wealth building is like climbing a mountain with a backpack full of rocks. You're pushing with no momentum and little help from compounding. But once you hit that $100,000, something incredible happens. 2. The power of compounding kicks in. Money attracts more money. Once you've saved or invested your first $100,000, your money starts working for you instead of you working only for it. Let's say you invest $100,000 at an average return of 7% per year. That's $7,000 a year, just from your money working in the background. You don't have to lift a finger for it. Compare that to when you had $5,000 invested. 7% gives you just $350 per year. That's barely noticeable. The more you have, the faster it grows. That's the magic of compounding. In the early years, your contributions do most of the work. But as your capital grows, your returns begin to outperform your contributions. Eventually, your investments earn more in a year than you can from your job. This is why the first $100,000 takes a decade, but the next one can come in just 2 years or even less. Because now, your money has momentum. 3. You start earning more. During your first $100,000 journey, you're learning skills, building habits, and improving your career or business. You might start your journey making $1,000 a month. But by the time you hit $100,000, you're probably earning multiple times that. You've learned how to manage money, avoid bad debt, and think long-term. You've developed financial muscles, and those make you stronger and faster when handling money later. The average person's income doesn't stay flat for 10 years. You might move from an entry-level salary to a mid-level role, or from a small business to a thriving one. That increase in income makes saving and investing the next $100,000 much faster. The process teaches you to multiply your value, and once your value increases, so does your income. 4. Your money mindset evolves. In the beginning, most people have a scarcity mindset. They think about how to survive. They focus on costs, not opportunities. But as you grow financially, your mindset transforms. You start to understand leverage, how to make money without trading time for it. You start thinking in terms of assets, not hours. You learn that money is a tool, not just a goal. And the way you make decisions changes. You stop wasting money on instant gratification and start prioritizing long-term gains. You see the real difference between spending and investing. Once your mindset shifts from saving to growing, your financial results accelerate naturally. 5. Momentum and the wealth flywheel. Imagine pushing a heavy flywheel. At first, it barely moves. You push and push, nothing happens. But then it starts turning slowly. Once it's moving, each push adds more speed, and eventually, it spins on its own momentum. That's how money works. The early grind feels useless, but every dollar saved, every habit built, and every skill learned adds force to your flywheel. Once it's spinning, your wealth starts to compound faster than your effort. At $10,000, your returns are small. At $100,000, they're visible. At $500,000, they're powerful. And at $1 million, your returns alone could equal someone's annual salary. The flywheel effect is why the rich get richer, not because of luck, but because of momentum. 6. Your network and opportunities expand. Money attracts people, investors, mentors, and opportunities. When you're broke, few people take your financial ideas seriously. But once you've built real capital, the doors open. People start to see you as credible. You get invited into new spaces, partnerships, investment deals, and collaborations that weren't available before. The wealthy operate in circles where money circulates faster. Deals that take years to access when you're broke happen in weeks when you have capital and reputation. Your first $100,000 gives you entry into that ecosystem, and once you're inside, your wealth can grow exponentially. You eliminate financial friction. In the early stage, most of your energy goes into survival, paying rent, covering bills, handling emergencies. Once you have a solid financial foundation, those pressures fade. You stop living paycheck to paycheck. That financial security gives you freedom, and freedom allows for better decisions. You're not chasing money out of fear anymore. You can think strategically, take smarter risks, and let opportunities mature without panic. When you're not under pressure, you make better investments, and that's a massive wealth advantage. 8. The compounding of habits. The habits you build while earning your first $100,000 are the foundation for everything after. You learn to spend less than you earn. Save before you spend. Invest consistently. Avoid emotional decisions. Delay gratification. These habits compound just like money does. By the time you've reached your first $100,000, these behaviors are automatic. You no longer have to think about saving or investing, it's part of who you are. And when discipline becomes effortless, wealth grows automatic. 9. Why the next $100,000 takes just 2 years. Now let's put this in perspective with real numbers. Let's say it took you 10 years to save your first $100,000, averaging $10,000 a year. By the end of that period, your income is likely much higher, maybe $70,000 or $100,000 a year. You've learned to invest, you've built consistency, and your $100,000 is now compounding. If that $100,000 grows by 7% annually, that's $7,000 in returns. Add your consistent saving or investing, say another $40,000 from your income, and suddenly, you're at $147,000 in 1 year. By year 2, your investments compound again, and you're easily over $200,000. It's not magic, it's math plus momentum. The second $100,000 is a product of the system you've already built. You've learned the rules, optimized your income, and allowed compounding to do its work. 10. The wealth curve accelerates. Wealth doesn't grow linearly, it grows exponentially. That's why it feels unfair. When you're at the bottom, progress is painfully slow. But once you cross a certain threshold, it skyrockets. The timeline shrinks, $0 to $100,000. Might take 10 years, $100,000 to $200,000. Could take 2 years, $200,000 to $500,000. Maybe another 3 years, $500,000 to $1 million. Possibly 2 years or less, each level accelerates the next. Because compounding doesn't just apply to money, it applies to experience, network, habits, and mindset. 11. What you can do right now. If you're still fighting to reach your first $100,000, don't get discouraged. You're in the hardest phase, but it's also the one that shapes your foundation forever. Here's what to focus on. Increase your income. Learn valuable skills, side hustles, or start a small business. Cut lifestyle inflation. Avoid spending more just because you earn more. Invest early and consistently. Even small amounts matter when compounded over time. Stay patient. Wealth is built slowly, then suddenly. It's about not quitting before you do. So the reason your first $100,000 takes 10 years but your next takes 2 is simple. You're not just building money, you're building momentum. Once your capital, habits, and mindset align, wealth compounds faster than you ever imagined. The grind at the start isn't punishment, it's preparation. And once you've built your foundation, money starts working harder for you than you ever did for it. If this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe for more deep, practical breakdowns on how real wealth is built one smart decision at a time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.